40 years working as a journalist. I mean, I'm a really old-fashioned journalist, I have to say, you know, in the sense that I started in newspapers. One day working in radio, I thought it was much too technical and complicated and sophisticated, so I went back to newspapers and I stayed there ever since. And I was really sort of stayed in journalism and became really attached to journalism. And I became attached to it in like lots of ways that people who get into journalism come into. You know, you sort of think it's a public service, you think it's actually worthwhile, you think it's going to be doing some good, you know. It's a sort of literary equivalent of being a sort of working in a hospital as a nurse, or being a policeman, or working in the fire service. You know, the idea is that, you know, you're doing something good for the community. And then when you get inside journalism, you realise what a dirty business it is, and actually how very complicated it is, because it lives by the idea that journalism is a progressive force which democracy needs, and people need journalism in order to be properly informed. And if they've got proper information, then they can lead reasonably secure lives and be confident about the future. But if they're not properly informed, then they just become victims. They can be manipulated by unscrupulous politicians and groups and so on and so forth. And that's unfortunately really what happens. And so journalism, I've always thought was really important. And when I was working for The Guardian and the Financial Times, where it was really, these were papers where you really felt they understood what the public interest was, it was great. I mean, I was always aware that there's a massive problem around journalism, partly because of political interference, partly because of corporate interests and money, and so on. So I'm always aware of that.